Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a really interesting idea that's been gaining some traction in the UK, the concept of an annual migration plan.
hmm
Now, when you first hear that, you might just think about, setting yearly quotas.
Right, just numbers.
Exactly. But what we're really looking at today is something potentially much more strategic, a more joined up way for the government to think about immigration policy.
That's absolutely right. If you look at how things have often worked, immigration policy can sometimes feel a bit reactive, can't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Driven by the latest net migration figures from the ONS, or maybe lobbying, or responding to, immediate international crises.
Which can lead to policies feeling a bit incoherent, then maybe undermines public trust sometimes.
Precisely. So the push for an annual migration plan, which groups like the Institute for Government have talked about, is really about trying to get ahead of the curve. It's about developing a proactive strategy, one that looks, say, several years down the line.
Okay, so charting a course rather than just
Yeah,
reacting.
exactly. Like the systems they have in places like Canada or Australia, a more planned approach.
Okay, let's unpack that then. What would this annual migration plan actually, involve? Our sources, especially the Institute for Government one, they paint a picture of a pretty comprehensive framework. What are the key bits?
Well, fundamentally, it would start with clearly stated objectives for the UK's immigration system.
Objective, so what we actually want it to do.
Yes, exactly. Which sounds obvious, but in the past, the underlying goals haven't always been crystal clear or explicitly stated. Are we mainly aiming for economic benefits?
Mm.
Or maybe addressing specific labor shortages?
Right.
Or considering broader social factors, foreign policy links?
Right.
A plan would aim to define these priorities, for the near term and looking further ahead.
That makes a lot of sense. So shifting focus from just controlling numbers to defining what we want the system to achieve. And you mentioned looking ahead, this wouldn't be just a year-by-year plan, would it?
No, absolutely not. A really crucial part is having a multi-year outlook, ideally looking 3 to 5 years ahead.
Why that long?
Well, it takes time for the effects of policy changes to really show up. Plus, it gives much-needed stability and predictability. Think about businesses planning their workforce needs, or universities recruiting students, or even individuals thinking about moving here.
Right. Gives everyone a clearer picture for planning. A move away from sort of short-term adjustment.
Exactly. Avoids that feeling of constant chopping and changing.
And it's not just about the total number of people coming in, is it? Because that single net migration figure, it often hides a lot of complexity, doesn't it?
It really does. And the proposed plan emphasizes getting into that detail. A comprehensive assessment of current migration levels, but broken down by the different categories, or routes, as they're often called.
So like work visas, student.
Exactly. Work, study, family reasons, people seeking asylum, or other forms of humanitarian protection. But it would need to go deeper than just those broad categories.
Deeper
Looking at things like, say, the salary levels for people on work visas. Which specific sectors are they working in? For students, what fields are they studying? For humanitarian routes, what are the specific circumstances? It's about building a much richer, more granular picture.
Okay, really getting down to the specifics of who's coming and why.
Precisely. Because only with that detailed understanding can you really start to analyze the impacts properly.
Which brings us to the next bit, I suppose. Understanding the effects.
Yes. The plan proposes a proper analysis of the costs and benefits of migration, again, broken down by these different routes.
So things like tax contributions.
Fiscal contributions, yes, but also the impact on public services, healthcare, schools, that sort of thing, and housing too, of course. The aim is to move beyond the sort of simplistic arguments and look at the evidence in a more nuanced, detailed way.
Okay, so set clear goals, get a really detailed picture of who's coming, analyze the impacts, what comes next in this proposed annual cycle.
Right, so after that thorough assessment, the plan would then outline any planned policy changes, things the government intends to do differently. And crucially, it would provide forecasts for migration numbers.
Forecasts, like predicting the future.
Well, yes, but forecast by round over that multi-year period we talked about. And these would likely come with, upper and lower bounds, acknowledging that forecasting migration is inherently uncertain.
Okay, giving a likely range.
Exactly. And importantly, it wouldn't just be about immigration policy changes. It would also set out proposed changes across other government departments.
Like what?
Things like skills development initiatives, changes to labor market regulations, perhaps adjustments in public spending allocations, integration support. Basically, policies needed to support the overall migration objectives.
Ah, so it recognizes that immigration isn't just a home office issue. It connects to everything else.
Absolutely, it's a cross-government endeavor.
It sounds like a really significant piece of work each year. How would a plan like this actually get put together? Who'd be involved?
Yeah, it's ambitious. The suggestion is for an annual process kicking off with a high-level meeting. Key ministers think Prime Minister, Home Secretary, Chancellor, setting the strategic direction based on the latest data and analysis.
Okay, top-level buy-in.
Then, input would come from various government departments, especially those with, say, long-term plans for skills shortages in their sectors, like health or tech.
Makes sense.
Right.
What about independent advice?
Crucial. The proposal emphasizes drawing on independent expertise from bodies like the Migration Advisory Committee, the MAC, which already advises the government, but also potentially Skills England, the Industrial Strategy Council, getting that external perspective.
And beyond Whitehall.
Yes, the process would also need to involve input from the devolved administrations, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, plus local government leaders, businesses, trade unions, universities, other civil society groups, getting a wide range of views.
That sounds much more collaborative, and presumably having this public document would improve the debate around immigration.
That's certainly one of the main hopes. A public document, debated in Parliament, perhaps scrutinized by a joint select committee. It could provide a much more informed basis for public discussion than we often have now.
Okay, so that's the vision for the annual migration plan. Now, we mentioned right at the start that a big part of why this might be feasible now is the development of powerful AI tools. Let's switch gears and dive into that. How can AI actually make this kind of complex data-heavy plan a reality?
You're absolutely right to make that link. The sheer volume of data involved in understanding migration flows, analyzing impacts, forecasting, coordinating across departments, it's immense. Doing this effectively without significant technological help would be, well, incredibly challenging, if not impossible.
So AI steps in to handle the complexity.
Essentially, yes.
Mhm.
AI offers a range of capabilities, processing vast data sets, finding patterns, automating tasks, modeling complex systems that can really underpin the kind of comprehensive annual plan we've been talking about. It makes it much more achievable in practice.
Okay, so what specific kinds of AI applications are relevant here? Where could it help?
We can break it down into a few key areas. First up, there are tools designed to help with assessing eligibility for visas and automating parts of the application process itself.
Right, streamlining the front end. And we have some specific examples of these, don't we? Tell us about AORA.
Yes, AORA's Automated Eligibility Assessment System is a really interesting one. It basically uses AI to model the complexities of UK nationality and immigration law.
Which are notoriously complex.
Exactly. So the AI analyzes the rules and can automatically assess if someone meets the criteria for, say, British citizenship or various types of work visas.
And it just gives a yes/no answer.
It does more than that.
Yeah.
Importantly, it provides clear explanations for its assessments, even referencing the specific legal rules it used. And if someone is eligible, the system can go a step further and automate the filling out of the required Home Office application forms.
Wow, okay. That sounds like it could bring some serious efficiency gains. What are the main benefits they highlight?
There are quite a few, actually. For the applicant, it can check all the different possible rights to citizenship, maybe finding paths they didn't know existed. For the government, it helps ensure laws are applied consistently, minimizes errors, which could reduce appeals down the line.
And saves time.
Big time savings for caseworkers, yes. It frees them up from routine checks to focus on more complex cases. It can also cut down on training needs for staff, generate reports automatically, improve overall productivity, and for employers, it makes checking work visa eligibility much faster.
How does it work technically, in brief?
It uses AI, particularly natural language processing NLP, to understand all that legal text. It's built on open standards, like Python, and it employs various kinds of intelligent automation, attended, unattended, cognitive to handle different tasks, all designed to be auditable and transparent.
Very comprehensive. Now, we also came across another tool in this space, Immigrationist.
Yes, Immigrationist is slightly different. It's a platform specifically tailored for UK immigration law firms, rather than directly for government use, though it addresses similar processes.
Okay, so helping the advisors. How?
It uses machine learning and NLP again, but focuses on automating tasks common in law firms, like filling out those detailed visa application forms or drafting the justifications needed when a company wants a sponsor license to hire foreign workers.
And the goal there is also efficiency and accuracy.
Primarily, yes. cutting down the huge amount of time these administrative tasks can take, while also helping ensure compliance with all the UK visas and immigration UKVI rules.
What kind of impact are firms seeing?
The platform claims significant time savings. Some users report saving, upwards of 20 hours a week on form filling and sponsor justifications. Tasks that might have taken hours can apparently be done in minutes.
That's quite a reduction.
It is. It also helps reduce errors by flagging missing information, like crucial certificate of sponsorship codes. This helps firms scale up, handle more cases without necessarily hiring more people, and stay compliant with Immigration Advice Authority regulations using real-time updates.
Okay, so AI is clearly making inroads in streamlining applications and the legal work around them. What about the decision-making within government? Can AI assist there too?
It can, and in some ways it already is. We found reference to a tool called Identify and Prioritize Immigration Cases, or IPC.
IPC. Tell us about that one. It sounds like it's actually in use by the Home Office.
Yes, according to reports, IPC has been used since around 2019 or 2020. It's essentially an AI-driven tool that suggests actions for immigration cases.
Suggests actions, including enforcement.
It can include recommendations related to enforcement, yes. The stated purpose is to enhance efficiency by helping caseworkers prioritize which cases need attention most urgently.
How does it decide on priority? What information does it use?
Well, reports suggest it gathers various personal details, potentially including biometric data, maybe ethnicity, health markers, criminal records, things like that, to assess cases and assign a priority level.
That sounds potentially sensitive. Is there human oversight?
Yes. The Home Office has stressed that a human official always reviews the recommendations made by IPA before any actual decision or action is taken. That human check is meant to be integral.
That's an important point. But tools like IPAs have drawn some criticism, haven't they?
They have. Concerns have been raised about the risks of automation bias, the potential for algorithms to perpetuate existing inequalities, a lack of transparency for the individuals affected by these systems, and the general need for strong algorithmic accountability, especially as the Home Office moves towards making more services digital by default.
Okay, so efficiency gains need to be balanced with fairness and transparency. Now, moving beyond individual cases, can AI also help with the broader planning and analysis that this annual migration plan would require?
Absolutely. And there's relevant work happening elsewhere in government. The Ministry of Housing, Communities, and Local Government, or MHCLG, as it was, had a digital planning program exploring AI.
For town planning, how does that relate?
Well, they were tackling a similar problem: how to efficiently process and extract useful information from huge volumes of complex documents, in their case, local development plans.
Okay, makes sense. What did they achieve?
They did some interesting things. They developed a chatbot, for instance, that could read local plans and answer specific questions based on the content.
Like asking, where are new housing developments planned?
Something like that, yes. They also created a standard way to classify and organize information across different local plans using a large language model, an LLM. They analyzed something like 120,000 pages from 100 different plans.
Wow.
Yeah, it really demonstrated AI's potential for much faster, more accurate data retrieval from these dense, complex documents. And that kind of capability would be incredibly valuable for migration planning, where you need to synthesize information from lots of different sources to make informed decisions.
So AI can help see the bigger picture and pull insights from massive amounts of text data. We also heard about AI being used for managing digital records.
That's right. The Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, the FCDO, has an AI system they use when reviewing and transferring digital files, for example, to the National Archives.
What does the AI do there?
It helps them efficiently identify sensitive information within those files, ensuring compliance with data protection rules like GDPR, while managing huge volumes of records. Again, think about the sheer quantity of digital information involved in immigration processes across different agencies. Tools that help manage and process that data securely and efficiently become pretty critical.
It really feels like AI is touching almost every part of the process, even the underlying IT infrastructure.
It seems so. There's even a tool mentioned called the Public Sector IT Migration Plan tool.
Okay, what does that do?
It's AI-powered and designed to help government departments plan major IT upgrades or migrations. It analyzes their current systems, helps map out the phases of moving to new ones, and even identifies staff training needs.
So helping make sure the tech backbone is ready for new policies and digital services.
Exactly. A smooth transition to new digital systems is pretty essential if you want to implement and manage complex new policies, like a comprehensive migration plan, effectively.
And one last piece, perhaps connecting back to those concerns about transparency and fairness we touched on with IPC, is there anything addressing that aspect?
Yes, there is. The UK government introduced something called the Algorithmic Transparency Recording Standard, or ATRS.
ATRS, what's the goal there?
It's a mandate, basically. Government departments are required to register the AI systems they're using, including potentially those in areas like immigration. The aim is to increase transparency about how AI is being deployed in the public sector.
So the public can see where algorithms are being used.
That's the idea, to ensure these applications are documented, accountable, and to help address public concerns and build trust around the use of automated systems in government decision-making.
Okay. So pulling it all together, it really does seem like this diverse array of AI tools, from helping individuals fill out forms to analyzing massive data sets for planning, managing records, supporting IT upgrades, and even promoting transparency, could collectively provide the essential foundations needed to actually implement something as ambitious as an annual migration plan.
I think that's a fair assessment. While each tool offers specific benefits, efficiency here, accuracy there, better analysis somewhere else, it's their combined potential that's really interesting. They could create the necessary technological infrastructure to manage the complexities of a strategic, long-term approach to migration, involving multiple government departments and stakeholders.
This has been a really insightful deep dive. It definitely seems like this proposal for an annual migration plan offers a chance to move the UK's approach beyond just reacting towards something more strategic and coherent,
Mhm.
more joined up. And the fact that these powerful AI tools are becoming available really could be the key to making such a complex plan actually workable in practice, potentially leading to greater efficiency, maybe more evidence-based policy.
Indeed. It represents quite a significant potential shift, doesn't it? Moving from simply responding to events towards proactively planning for the future, but using the capabilities that modern technology offers to actually manage that complexity.
It certainly makes you think. If this combination of, strategic long-term planning and cutting-edge AI technology can be applied to something as intricate and sensitive as immigration, well, what other really complex, maybe previously impossible challenges in government or public policy might become more manageable with a similar approach?
That's a great question to ponder.
It is a really interesting prospect for the future of governance, perhaps. We definitely encourage listeners to explore these ideas of annual migration planning and the evolving role of AI in government further. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.